Hey everybody, welcome to Disneyopolis. I'm Bryan, we're here in City Hall, and I've got a really special show for you today. You know, whenever I take a trip to Walt Disney World or in the past Disneyland, I want to bring things home with me. Souvenirs that kind of remind me of my time in the parks. And if you're a Disney fan, and you are because you're watching this channel now, I know you're the exact same way. Well, for me it goes a little bit beyond going to the gift shops, of which there are many. I mean, you get off any attraction, there's a gift shop at the end, right? So there's ample opportunities to buy things, that will remind you of your trip, that'll bring back really good memories. Well, I have to make a confession. I go a little bit overboard. Guilty as charged. Having said that, when you see my collection of things, you'll say, oh, wow, I remember that, or oh, I wish I had one of those. Anyway, this is our show of unusual souvenirs. And I've got a lot of them. Not my complete collection, mind you, but a lot. So we're going to go ahead and get started right away. Anytime we've been at Walt Disney World, like I said, anywhere we go, anything we do, there are different memories that get evoked from different experiences. And so I like to try and remember those. So I'm not a kleptomaniac, but I guess a case could be made that I am. You know how it used to be in older vacation times, people would, they bring ashtrays, they bring towels, beach towels, that sort of thing. Well, I've kind of taken that to a different level. For instance, one of my prized possessions is this bad boy right here. Yes, that's the top of a pizza box from pizza that was delivered to a Walt Disney hotel room. It's got the Fab Five on it. I couldn't say no. Plus, you can't find this anywhere else. Yeah, I mean, there's no pizza place anywhere where you live, unless you happen to live in Walt Disney World, where you're going to find a pizza lid that's got the Fab Five on it. So, that's our first item. Again, I love this stuff. Second thing, our first stay when we went was at Pop Century Resort. It actually hadn't been open too terribly long when we went, and I was so impressed with the fact that everything was thought of, including what happens when you're done at the parks, what happens when you come into the hotel room and you're ready to relax and you're ready to turn in for the night. Well, used to be you could get a bedtime story, and this bedtime story was told by none other than Ariel herself. This actually was an advertisement for the bedtime stories. On one side, of course, it had her. On the other side, it had, of course, Cinderella Castle. And then it's actually a trifold thing, so you can actually see kind of a picture in time of the way things were. This is an actual television guide for what was then the in-room TVs. And this was actually before we got things like the big screen TVs and the flat screens at Walt Disney World. So this is when I think of some of my strangest collection of things that I brought back from Walt Disney World, this is one of the things that tops my mind. That, and of course my esteemed pizza lid. Next up, anytime you stay at a resort, they usually will whip out a little bitty map and show you, hey, this is where you're going to be staying, here's where your room is. Yeah, I kept those too. We stayed at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, not once but twice, and I made sure I brought back at least one of those maps, and actually I have more than one. But this is one kind of detailing. It looks like once upon a time we stayed in building 34, and it was rooms 3413 and room 3414. I've got a big family, there's 6 of us, so we had adjoining rooms. So we made sure that we kept our map. That way it kind of remind us where we stayed. And in the future we'll be able to recommend, hey, this is a great place to stay, or maybe you should look for a different room. One of our trips, we had the opportunity. We had an opportunity to go see the Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals play at the field down there at ESPN Wide World of Sports. So yes, I kept our tickets. Like I said, it's pretty close to a sickness, but I don't care. I like being sick if this is what I get to keep. So we kept our tickets from the game. Great time, by the way, too. It's a minor league field, but it's also spring training grounds for the Atlanta Braves. If you ever get an opportunity to catch a baseball game, if you are indeed a baseball fan, I strongly recommend you taking a game if you ever get to go during the time that they're having spring training. When we had first started looking into doing DVC, and we were DVC for a while, One of the things we checked out was Saratoga Springs Resort and Spas. Of course, they've updated it a lot since then, but I thought this was a really neat advertisement. Of course, it's got a phone number you could call at that time. This kind of tells you what some of the different things that are available are. So I thought, well, it's Disney, it's at Saratoga Springs, that's got to come home. Another thing that I like to collect, again, I like to try and get things that you can't generally find everywhere else. Anytime you buy something, what do? They put it in a bag. So yes, friends, I have bags from Walt Disney World. This one I liked in particular because it was festooned with a bunch of cartoons, a bunch of comics, lots of fun, and of course Mickey Mouse himself. Now I know a lot of these were actually used at the off-site Disney stores at the time, but I kept this one because, well, it came from Walt Disney World. Why else wouldn't you? Had a happy birthday celebration once upon a time, got my happy birthday button. Of course it came home with me as well. Any advertisements that I saw, anything that reminded me of Walt Disney World, I managed to bring home because I knew things would change over time. Here's a all new Disney Magic Your Way tickets. Customize the magic your way. Anyway, this is a guide on how to do, what the costs were at that time. A 7-day ticket for anybody that was ages 10 or over. 7 days, $199. 1-day ticket, $59.75. You can see it right there, friends. It's not quite that inexpensive these days. As a matter of fact, for the cost of 2 days, back then you could have gone for 7. I know things like that have changed. Here was an ad for Disney Vacation Club. Again, got your Mickey Mouse ears. Again, it's something that I loved because, again, it was Disney. We ended up eventually joining the Disney Vacation Club, and we were a member for a few years. Back when the economic crisis of 2008 hit, we had to make a choice between paying for our DVC and paying for a house, and we chose our house. It's what you do. Here is a PhotoPass card for when we had our picture taken at Splash Mountain. And you can see right there, it's got the picture of Splash Mountain on it. On the back, it shows the photo number. It says pick up or view your photo instantly or up to 1 hour after your splashdown. So you could actually take this card to the desk there at Splash Mountain, pick up your picture, and that way you'd have another souvenir. And yes, we spent a lot of money on regular souvenirs too, but these are the things that evoke the biggest memories for me. We stayed during a time when, before these wonderful things, Magic Bands came out, and so when you went to Extra Magic Hours, they gave you one of these. And of course they changed the color up every day, so you never knew what the color was, so you couldn't just take this thing and then just go use it any time. But this is an Extra Magic Hours band. You could be in the parks, but you couldn't ride any of the rides after Extra Magic Hours, and this is for the evening ones that they would pass those out. So that's kind of a neat remember when to have. All of the places where we stayed had telephone information, and so I thought that'd be kind of cool to have the information. Not only that, they had it in several different languages, of course, Spanish, English, French, Mandarin, and they all told you how you can make outdoor or outside of the resort calls, long distance calls. You can even see the AT&T logo down there. So we brought that home as well. One of the magazines I picked up while on site, I don't even think they make this thing anymore. It was called Disney Magazine. Had all kinds of neat tips and things. This one was actually talking about the new Platinum DVD for Bambi, and a Park Lover's Guide. It was a Walt Disney World exclusive. And then of course one of the early advertisements for Disney Cruise Lines. This is back when they just had the one ship. So again, now that one I actually paid for. But again, great memories all the way around. Absolutely love it. Sorry if I'm looking to the left and right here. I've got a lot to show you. When we stayed at Caribbean Beach, you could go to Shutters, you could go to the Banana Cabana, and we did. And you see here where it says pizza delivery? That's where we got the pizza box. Yes, friends and neighbors, this is one of the menus that was sitting on the tables. It talked about your refillable mugs back when the mugs were resort centric, depending upon what resort you stayed at, that's the kind of resort mug that you would get. Back then, unlimited mugs, appetizers. You know, they were a whole lot less money. I mean, they were still expensive even for the day, but I mean, really, 16-inch pizza, 4 toppings, 4 soft drinks, 6 breadsticks, $30. Gotta love it. Wish we still had those prices. Also, when we stayed at Caribbean Beach Resort, they actually had their own directory of services. This one was called Tradewinds. And again, it's specific to the resort that you were staying at. On the front, it just had some of the most asked questions for check-in. Here's a little welcome. You open it up, it gave you your dining options. It also gave you information on some of the different services that were available to you as a resort guest. They reminded you of your Key to the World card, and then activities on the back, and then yet another telephone directory. Again, this one was specific to the resort that you were staying in. This was, again, this was when we stayed, one of the 2 times we stayed at Caribbean Beach. So the last time we stayed was our last trip. Did not see this anywhere. If they had it, I didn't see it. One of my favorite places to eat on property anywhere is the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. You heard me talk about that a couple shows. What a lot of fun that is to watch the old B movie roll up on the screen. 45 minutes of just wonderful schlocky goodness. Anyway, this was a time where my son got a special card for his Sci-Fi Dine-In experience. This is a Sci-Fi Dine-In driver's license, of course, because when you eat there, they set you in the cars, the special cars that are intended, you know, to make it feel in large part like a drive-in theater, and they do. It's one of the best themed restaurants on property. But my son got this in 2004, July 14th. As a matter of fact, not too terribly long before his and his sister's birthday. Did I mention I have a sickness? Here are the not the envelopes. Here are napkins from Walt Disney World. This is back when they still printed them instead of just embossing them on the envelopes. As a matter of fact, this one had Mickey Mouse. Again, it says Walt Disney World. If you look at the recycle on the back, even it was Disney-centric. You see that? Mickey Mouse with the recycling logo. Love it. Absolutely love it. Did I mention we've had a few birthdays at Walt Disney World? There you go. From our Epcot family, happy birthday. Of course, Mr. M. Mouse himself right there on the button. Again, these are some of my favorite things. I still remember each and every time we went there. We went to Rafiki's Planet Watch, and at the time, they were giving out, well, poop. This is cultured, basically this is an enzyme, I don't even know how to pronounce it, immunoacy plate. You can correct me later if you like. Anyway, basically what this is, this had to do, these plates contributed, it says, to the science of animal reproduction. But this is some of the things that they used to, to test their scat. And there's a little thing on the back. Of course, this came from Disney's Animal Kingdom. Again, great stuff. Love every bit of this that you're seeing. During another stay at Walt Disney World, oh no, this was more bedtime stories. Got one for everybody, I guess. We stayed at Pop Century our first trip there, and I think we stayed there a second time as well. Our favorite time staying was in the 80s rooms. We did stay once in the 60s room, but as fate would have it, we stayed at Everything Pop, or we didn't stay at Everything Pop, we ate at Everything Pop because the prices were real reasonable. And again, you can see the Disney-centric mug there. And they talk about some other things like getting your mouse ears and some of the other things you could buy. Again, they talk about pizza delivery. Here's lunch, and it says you can stop by and get some of your classic concoctions there at Everything Pop. Again, that's a menu. Everything about Disney, I had to have it, including, they said, we hope you're enjoying your stay. Make sure you recycle. So I did. I brought this home. I'm still using it. This is a recycle it reminder, and it said if you had any questions to contact the housekeeping office, or for us insiders, mousekeeping, of course. So we brought that. Here is our resort map for Pop Century. This one was, I think, from 2005. One of our stays there. Got that. Now, this is not as unusual as a lot of the things I've shown you, but I like to keep also things like time and information guides, park maps, Yeah, see, Magic Kingdom, and I have them in multiple languages too, because why not? Talking about things like signing up for a Disney Visa at that time. Here's the Pirates League, which is the ultimate pirate transformation, only $29.95. Disney Water Parks, Disney Quest. At that time, Downtown Disney with the characters in Flight Balloon, now Disney Springs. Things from Animal Kingdom, guide maps for Hollywood Studios, guide maps for Epcot. And then, of course, as I made mention, different languages. I believe that's Mandarin. That's German. That's Portuguese. That's French. And, of course, Spanish. So we kept all those different events, too, like Disney Summer Night-tastic. Remember when they had that? And then, of course, that, and as a matter of fact, that one's actually got a date on it. This is from our trip in the first week of July in 2010. Cirque du Soleil La Nuba, and things of that nature as well. And even maps and highlights for the young ones, like Handy Manny, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Gosh, there's so many here. I could carry on with these just by themselves. Of course, before these gyms came into place, in order to do, to butt in line legally, were fast passes. So I have kept fast passes from Star Tours. And this was again our 2010 trip. And then I've got another one here I was looking for. Still looking for it. It was Haunted Mansion. Have one of those too. It's not within my reach at the moment, but again, always great souvenirs. See, and these are things that by and large are offered at no cost, but still can bring you really great memories. One time when we went and we sat in to listen to the DVC presentation, they gave us DVC gift cards. Gift cards. They also at that time did Disney Fast Passes, and these were special Fast Passes. You could use them at any attraction, anytime you want. At one point we had some Fast Passes left over, so we passed on the goodness to total strangers. We saw families just coming into the parks for the first time that particular trip. These were your Key to the World cards. These again were the precursor to the Fast Passes. This is my wife and I. Of course, you can see, well, actually my daughter and I see names printed on it. There was mine. So again, Key to the World cards. Those were a thing long before the magic bands came around. Still fun stuff. Minnie's Bake Shop. We got a cookie that was so good, I said, I've got to have that. Of course, my daughter looked at me very strange, went back to eating her cookie, and then handed her dad the piece of cardboard that was stapled to the cookie holder. Does everybody here, by a show of hands, like the bedding and things there? Everybody's raising their hand. No, of course, no, I didn't bring any bedding back. I have some scruples. Not many, but I have some. But I did want to be able to get the Disney Resort collection, and this was available for you to look at and take home. And they talk about everything from the mattresses that you stayed on or slept on, to the duvet covers and the bed skirts. And of course you can see pictures like the contemporary and the wonderful bed linens from Wamsuta. I can honestly say my favorite pillows in the whole wide world are these bad boys right here. And they still have them at all the Disney resorts, and they are some of the most comfortable that I have ever slept on. And then of course they had the Bath Aquatics, which we're about to get into. Yeah, Bath Aquatics. Yeah, we actually, they use the H2O brand of shampoos and stuff. Wasn't always that way, I don't think, at Walt Disney World, but I actually have some of those as well. Check this out. Old school bath soap. On the front, Mickey Mouse. On the back, everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show. A quote from the Mickey Mouse Club from 1955. Wonderful stuff. Our next trip, they changed up the soaps, so of course we had to bring new soaps home. This is a combination of shampoo and conditioner. Love that aquatic blue bottle. Of course, all the ingredients and stuff on the back side. And then of course there's also the conditioner, the shower gel, and of course the standalone shampoo. Yes, I have plenty of these. Matter of fact, the ongoing joke at my house is, we're almost out of Disney shampoo. We need to go ahead and schedule another trip. So we did. So that's that. Of course, at that time, the Mickey Mouse soaps, by that time they had changed. Again, the H2O Aquatic series. This one has Mickey and Bubbles embossed in it. Still in the wrapper. This was the bath soap. And this was the facial soap. And if you look real close, Mickey Mouse embossed on that as well. Love it, love it. Now our last trip there, the soap had again changed. And I absolutely love this blushing orange bath soap. This stuff smells awesome. So we got the bath soap, and I like the little touch now on both the shampoo and the conditioner with the Mickey Mouse flip top ears to open and shut your shampoo and your conditioner. Here's an arcade card, back when they were still giving those out. Again, I think everything's pretty much linked to the Magic Bands, but I thought the look of that was cool. And of course it was our arcade card. Had a certain amount of points on it you could use. Go to the arcade, have a good time. I'm not an arcade guy myself, but my kids like that, and it's something fun for them to do while you're checking in or at that time checking out. One of my favorite souvenirs from Walt Disney World was a watch, and this was a Mickey Mouse face watch. And so of course this is uniquely Walt Disney World or Disney Parks. It even says Disneyland Walt Disney World, $30 for the watch. Even the case has Mickey's face embossed in it. I don't know if you can actually see that, but I'll move that around a little bit to give you an opportunity to see that. This last trip, I really wanted my wife to have something special. She does without a lot for our kids. We've got 4 kids, 3 of whom are in college, 1 who's about to go to college. So I said, this trip I want you to do something special. She wasn't going to do it, but I finally talked her into getting a Dooney and Burke purse. She wanted something elegant, Disney, but not too Disney. And she liked the pattern she saw, so she got the Haunted Mansion purse. Again, you can only pick them up at the parks. I think you can actually order them online as well. But this is the tag from that purse. Of course, why would we throw this away? It's Disney, right? And in addition to needing soaps, I gotta have Disney pins. Black and white, of course. Have to keep up with that. When I go to work, I take these pins with me. I've even been known when they run out of ink to replace the ends of them and keep using it because, again, Walt Disney World Resorts. What else do we have? Well, you know the balloons that you would buy there? A lot of them have weights, so these weights came with them. Red, yellow, and they're basically, it says, this weight will help keep your balloon from blowing away. Please do not remove. So of course we removed them after the balloons went their merry way. A lot of cast members will give out, for a while they were giving out Mickey Mouse stickers. Still have a few of those. And if that weren't enough, remember I said I had a sickness? Mickey bar. I saved the wrappers from the Mickey bars. I even have one for the ice cream sandwich because, well, they're Mickey bars. Try and go and find one of these in your local grocery store. Can't do it. But I've got one. And finally, and this is kind of a different thing. This isn't really a souvenir that I brought from the parks, but I wanted to bring, again, every part of my experience from Disney that I could possibly bring home. If you've ever walked into the Contemporary Resort, if you ever walk into the Polynesian, even the Caribbean Beach Resort, again the Contemporary, you've noticed they each have their own individual kind of scent, their own individual smell. Don't know what the one at the Polynesian's called. I know somebody probably has that information out there. I love the smell at the Contemporary. I asked, what is that smell? Oh, that's aloe and green clover, they tell me. You can get that at Bath and Body Works, they tell me. Not anymore. It's a discontinued scent, and it's really only sold to hotels. And so I went and found out what is the closest thing to that. Well, the closest thing to that at the time that we were able to find, and I smelled it at some other resorts, is a scent called Rain Kissed Leaves from Bath and Body Works. Well, we found out that they were bringing back some of their discontinued scents, and we saw an opportunity to get it. We bought it. This is not exactly aloe and green clover, but pretty darn close. So what we do at night, not only do we have a few candles, which of course you would want to have, but we also have air fresheners, we also have soaps, and we have spray bottles. I got several of these. I think we got like 8 or 10 of these. And so when we go to bed at night, we've got our soft pillows, not quite Wamsutta quality, but really close. We take the lid off, we spray this wonderful smell, and it reminds us of one of our favorite trips when we stayed at the Contemporary Resort. And we smelled that same scent at, I don't remember which hotel it was. We went to a couple different hotels, but we smelled it again and we said, we've got to have that. So we ended up getting that last time it was there. Well, that is pretty much it, of course, except for Paper Duffy. He came home with us a long time ago. He's come home with us a couple times. He approves of this, by the way. I've checked it with him. He's fine with it. I've got other stuff as well. Maybe I'll share some of that on a later show. I know I've kind of unloaded quite a bit on you. Some of it is really bizarre, but all of it is Disney, and I absolutely love it. And again, each one of these things that I brought, that I've shown you, there's a tie-in to a time where we stayed at a Walt Disney Resort, or we, we visited the parks, or even things like certain smells at Walt Disney. These are things that I associate with my favorite place in the whole wide world, which is Walt Disney World. And I remember going to Disneyland as a kid, and I still have some things, mementos from that time too. But I actually have a suitcase, of course, purchased at Walt Disney World at the Contemporary, and it's where I keep my mementos. And I've got other things that I haven't gotten from the parks, but that are still Disney related, and maybe aren't necessarily your average things that you would expect to have. Anyway, if you got any questions, you got any comments, you want to say this guy's a lunatic, make sure you enter it in the comments below. Seriously, if you're anything like me at all, I'm sure you get it. You get why I collect these kinds of things. But I'm so glad you could stop by today. Make sure, again, that you rate, comment, subscribe. Also visit our website, Disneyopolis.com. You'll find different articles. Of course, you'll find links to other videos, and you'll find links to videos here. You can come to our our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Disneyopolis. Again, thank you so much for showing up. I'm so glad you came, and we'll see you real soon.